Hey guys, Brent Hull, happy Wednesday. Got another design video. Some of you have asked about what to do with a 60s or 70s ranch. Well, this is one example of what to do. I probably should do my own house at some point. This is the house that can't decide what it wants to be. I took this house in one direction or another direction. It's kind of a split personality here. Let me know which one you like. So you guys have said, hey, what would you do kind of with the 60s or 70s ranch? I think this is a good place to start because, you know, in the ranch period, you often have these houses that are trying to be different things. I mean, there are ranch Tudors, there are, you know, ranch colonial revival, which is what this is. There are ranch Japanese styles. There are all kinds of weird, crazy ranches that, while they're ranch in form, right? They're long, low pitch roof, single story, kind of wide and spread out. They are definitely a ranch, but they start having other characteristics. Now, one of the things about this, when you have a Tudor ranch and a colonial ranch and you have all these different ranches, it's a matter, and this happens even worse in the 70s and 80s and 90s, is like, what does the house want to be? What is it trying to be? And so in this case, we've got a mixed message. We've got kind of this colonial revival thing, but it's also, we know that it's a ranch. So what I've done is I played around with this thing so that I'm gonna make one half kind of more heavily ranch. I'm gonna make the other side more heavily colonial revival. And so on the colonial revival side, I've taken those columns, I've made them round columns, and the windows I've raised up. They're actually lower than the front doorway. So I've raised up those windows to make them tall. I've separated the windows, right? Both here and in the front. I've got, in this main section, I've got the windows that are a little bit larger than the ones on the side. So there's a little bit of hierarchy, but taking it from these square columns, okay, and these windows that are paired together, notice that the height of my door, okay, and with the trim is up in here. So I'm actually lifting these windows up. I'm also separating them, okay? So I'm gonna make them taller. See that pane of glass? You know, I'm always going on the pane of glass, how it's kind of a square or a rectangle laid on its side. I'm gonna fix that. And so, you know, I've got taller windows over here that are separated and, you know, wider windows over thing that kind of colonialize it. And I think that you could even, you know, put in a Mount Vernon cupola if you wanted to enhance that colonial revival feel. Now, on the other side, what I've done is I have tried to go more ranch, okay? You notice I've got that single, the front door is meant to be that, I'm sure you've seen them, those doors that you see them in ranch catalogs that look like this. That's what I've kind of, the door I've put in here, a single door, you know, probably with a knob like that, right? That opens up. I've changed the columns to the classic ranch, you know, cast iron stuff that was so popular in the 50s and 60s, where you've got decorative cast iron around here. I've taken out the windows. I just put in a big picture window, right? If we're going to go modern, let's go modern. The 50s, 60s, 70s was a huge craze for, you know, the big panes of glass. Float glass was you know, kind of figured out in the 40s so that you end up with these huge panes of glass. I've also taken these windows, instead of having any, you know, divided light that is a double hung with, you know, 6/6, I've gone now with the window that's a 2/2, but the window panes are actually like this. So I've got 2/2, right? But they're long and horizontal. You see that in the ranch period. So you can see that you could take this house in either direction. You kind of take it in a modern ranch path, or you can go more colonial revival. If you're going this way, maybe you paint the brick, right? Maybe you make it down to that white, more modern thing. You could change the columns to more modern, you know, thin columns. And so there's a bunch of different things you can do, but here's a house that is trying to be two different things, and I have pushed it one way with the colonial revival, pushed it another way with the more modern, and I think both work, right? I think they're both maybe more contributory to their style when it's not lukewarm, when it's not just kind of right in the middle, but it's kind of pushing one way or the other. Okay, guys, how do we do? Do you like the modern version, like the colonial revival? I think probably for this house, I kind of lean towards that colonial revival looking ranch. Ranches are hard because it's kind of that last period of houses that are recognizable because of that low, long, wide footprint that they have, but it begins to get mixed up, and really this begins the a period of looking at houses and going, what does it want to be? What is it trying to be? And so this is where it all begins to fall apart. But let me know what you think. I read all the comments. I'm Brent Hull. Thanks for watching.